Our heroine was a woman with fire in her eyes. She carried a hunger not for mere food, but for life itself. Each sunrise was an invitation, a whisper of new beginnings. She saw the world as a vast open book, its pages filled with untold stories. Her spirit yearned to read every line, to trace every map. Learning was not a task for her, but a joyous dance. New experiences were the air she breathed, the nourishment her soul craved. She believed that life spoke to those who listened with an open heart. She found wisdom not in dusty tomes, but in the laughter of a child, or in the resilience of a flower pushing through concrete. Every encounter was a teacher, every challenge a lesson in disguise. Her appetite for understanding was boundless, her curiosity a bright flame. She collected moments like precious jewels, each one reflecting a different facet of existence. This zest was her compass, guiding her towards the extraordinary. It was the ancient call of the wild heart, beating strong within her chest. This deep desire for the new was not a fleeting fancy. It was the very essence of her being, woven into the fabric of her soul. She understood that to live fully meant to embrace the unknown, to step into the shadows and find the light hidden there. She was not afraid of change. She welcomed it as an old friend. For her, stagnation was the only true sorrow. Her heart beat in rhythm with the ever-changing pulse of the world, always eager for the next discovery. This thirst for life was a sacred fire. It illuminated her path and warmed those around her. She taught without words that life is meant to be savored, that every experience, joyful or painful, adds to our richness. Her journey was a testament to the power of an engaged spirit. She showed us that the world is full of wonders, waiting for us to open our eyes and our hearts. Her adventure was just beginning, a song of the soul taking flight. The heroine possessed a rare and precious gift. It was a quiet voice, a gentle nudge from within. This was her intuition, her deepest talent. It was the ancient knowing that resides in the bones, in the blood. This inner compass guided her not to well-trodden paths, but to hidden trails. It led her to journeys that were uniquely her own. She learned to trust this subtle guidance above all else. It never steered her wrong, even when logic screamed otherwise. This intuition was her most loyal companion. Her talent for adventure was not about recklessness. It was about a profound attunement to the currents of life. She could sense the shift in the wind, the change in the tide. This allowed her to find excitement where others saw only the mundane. She could turn a simple walk into an exploration, a chance encounter into a meaningful connection. Her intuition showed her the magic hidden in plain sight. It was like having a secret map to the treasures of the world, a map drawn by her own soul. This innate ability to find the extraordinary was not learned from books. It bloomed from a deep trust in her own inner wisdom. She knew that the soul speaks in whispers, not shouts, and she had cultivated the stillness to hear those whispers. This made her a natural seeker, a true adventurer. She did not need grand expeditions to feel alive. The adventure was in the seeing, in the feeling, in the being present to what is. Her life was a tapestry woven with threads of intuitive guidance. So she followed these delicate threads, these shimmering breadcrumbs of knowing. They led her to unexpected places, to surprising encounters. They revealed the richness that lies beneath the surface of things. Her intuition was the key that unlocked the door to adventure. It was her way of dancing with the mystery of life. She understood that the greatest adventures are those of the heart and spirit, and her intuition was the surest guide on this sacred journey. Into her life came a powerful force, a being she called the storm. This partner was not a gentle breeze, but a whirlwind of emotion. With the storm, life was intense, a passionate dance of highs and lows. There were moments of breathtaking beauty like lightning illuminating the night sky, and there were times of thunderous conflict shaking her to her core. The storm brought an emotional landscape that was constantly shifting, always alive. This was a love that mirrored the untamed forces of nature. The storm was a teacher, though often a challenging one. Their connection plunged the heroine into the depths of her own feelings. It forced her to confront her shadows, her fears, her vulnerabilities. The emotional intensity was a crucible, forging her strength and resilience. Through the storm, she learned about the raw power of love. Not the fairy tale kind, but the real, messy, transformative kind. She learned that love could be both a shelter and a tempest, a comfort and a challenge. Their days together were rarely calm, but they were undeniably vibrant. The storm brought a passion that ignited her own spirit. It mirrored her own intensity, her own deep well of feeling. They were two wild souls learning to move together. Sometimes they clashed like thunderheads colliding. Other times they merged, creating moments of profound connection and understanding. The storm taught her that emotions are not to be feared but to be felt. They are energy, pure and potent. Through this dynamic partnership, the heroine began to understand the lessons of the heart. She saw that love was not about constant sunshine. It was about weathering the gales together, hand in hand. It was about finding beauty, even in the fierceness of the squall. The storm showed her that true connection is forged in the fires of experience. Their dance was a powerful one, full of lessons about vulnerability, courage, and the enduring strength of love. The relationship with the storm was a profound classroom for the heroine. It was here she learned that love is not always a gentle stream. Sometimes it is a raging river, carving new paths through the landscape of the soul. The emotional ups and downs were not punishments, but invitations. Invitations to grow, to expand her capacity for understanding and compassion. She learned that the real treasure in any relationship is not the absence of conflict, it is the shared journey through it and the wisdom gained. The storm in its fierce love showed her the many faces of affection. There was the tender love like the quiet aftermath of a downpour, and there was the passionate love like the wild energy of the tempest itself. She discovered that feelings in all their intensity were the true gold, not the fleeting excitement of newness, but the deep resonant emotions that connect us. The storm taught her that to love deeply is to feel deeply, and to feel deeply is to be truly alive, in every fiber of her being. Together they navigated the emotional weather systems of their shared life. They learned that the real lessons were not in avoiding the difficult moments. They were in facing them with open hearts. The storm's presence challenged her desire for constant movement. It asked her to stay, to feel, to learn from the turbulence. This partnership was a mirror, reflecting back to her the parts of herself that needed healing. It showed her the strength she carried within her own heart. So, the heroine and the storm learned that true treasure is not found in distant lands. It is found in the landscape of the heart. It is in the courage to feel, the willingness to learn, the commitment to grow together. The emotional journey, with all its peaks and valleys, became their richest adventure. They discovered that feelings are the colors with which life paints its masterpieces, and the lessons learned in love are the most precious souvenirs of all. In the midst of the storm's emotional weather, a surprising ally emerged: laughter. The heroine discovered that humor could be a sturdy raft in turbulent waters. When tensions rose high, like storm clouds gathering, a shared laugh could part them. It could release the pressure, allowing sunlight to peek through once more. Acceptance too became a powerful tool, accepting the storm's nature and her own without judgment. This acceptance was not a resignation, but a wise embrace of what is. She learned that challenges did not always need to be fought with grim determination. Sometimes a light heart and a playful spirit were far more effective. Humor allowed them to see the absurdity in their struggles. It reminded them not to take themselves or their conflicts too seriously. When the storm raged, a well-timed joke could be like a gentle rain. It soothed the parched earth of their frustrations. It helped them remember their underlying love, their shared humanity. Acceptance was the bedrock upon which this humor could flourish. The heroine learned to accept the storm's emotional intensity as part of their unique dance, and the storm, in turn, learned to accept her need for exploration and understanding. This mutual acceptance created a space of safety, a space where they could be vulnerable, where they could make mistakes, where they could laugh at those mistakes together, instead of letting them drive a wedge between their souls. Through laughter and acceptance, they found a deeper level of connection. They learned that even in the heart of a tempest, joy could be found. These were not grand solutions, but simple everyday acts of grace: a knowing smile, a gentle tease, an arm around a shoulder. These small gestures became the stitches that mended any tears in their bond. They discovered that love, seasoned with humor and acceptance, could weather any storm, growing stronger with each passing challenge. Then another guide appeared in the heroine's life, a soul known as the rhythmic. This friend moved with a different cadence, a slower, more deliberate beat. The rhythmic was like a steady river, flowing gracefully towards the sea, or like the ancient trees, rooted deep in the earth, swaying gently in the breeze. This presence was a balm to the heroine's often frenzied spirit. The rhythmic embodied the art of living in the present moment, savoring each breath. With the rhythmic, the heroine learned to slow her pace. She had been so focused on the destination, on the next grand experience. The rhythmic taught her the beauty of the journey itself. They would walk slowly, noticing the tiny wildflowers, the intricate patterns of a spider's web. They would sit in silence, listening to the symphony of the forest. The rhythmic showed her that there was a universe of wonder in the small, ordinary moments, a universe she had often rushed past in her quest for more. This friendship was a gentle counterpoint to her relationship with the storm. Where the storm brought intensity, the rhythmic brought tranquility. Where the storm taught her about passionate engagement, the rhythmic taught her about peaceful being. The rhythmic helped her to find her own inner rhythm, to connect with the quiet stillness that lay beneath her adventurous heart. She learned that true enjoyment comes not from collecting experiences, but from fully inhabiting each one. The rhythmic's gift was the understanding of presence, to be fully where you are, with all your senses alive, to taste the sweetness of a ripe berry, to feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, to hear the song of your own heart beating steadily. This was a different kind of adventure, an inward journey. The heroine began to appreciate the delicate dance between doing and being. The rhythmic helped her find a new kind of richness, one found not in a flurry of activity, but in the deep well of the present. The heroine began a new phase of her journey, one of integration and balance. The fire of her adventurous spirit still burned brightly, but it was now tempered by a newfound appreciation for stillness. She was no longer driven by an insatiable hunger for endless new experiences. The lessons from the storm and the rhythmic had taken root in her soul. She understood that true fulfillment was not about quantity, but quality. The quality of her presence, the depth of her feeling. She learned to listen more closely to the needs of her inner landscape. Sometimes the call was for bold action, for stepping into the unknown. Other times the call was for quiet reflection, for simply being. She began to discern the difference, to honor both these vital energies within her. This was the art of inner balance, a delicate dance she was learning. She realized that the wild heart also needs moments of rest, of quiet contemplation, to truly thrive and remain strong. Her desire for new things transformed. It was less about acquisition and more about openness. She was open to the magic of the moment, whatever it might bring. Whether it was a thrilling adventure or a quiet afternoon of solitude, she found that when she let go of the relentless pursuit, life brought her exactly what she needed. The experiences that came to her felt more resonant, more meaningful. She was no longer chasing life, she was dancing with it, gracefully. This journey toward balance was not about extinguishing her passionate nature. It was about channeling it wisely. It was about understanding that peace and excitement could coexist, that she could be both a courageous explorer and a serene anchor. She was learning to navigate the currents of her life with greater skill, no longer tossed about by every whim, but guided by a deeper wisdom. Her heart, once only hungry for the horizon, now found joy in the here and now. As the heroine cultivated this balance, something miraculous began to happen. She discovered that true happiness was not a destination to be reached. It was not a prize to be won by collecting the most experiences. Instead, she found that happiness bloomed from a state of openness, an openness to life in all its forms, in all its flavors, an openness to joy, to sorrow, to challenge, to peace. It was in this radical acceptance that the real magic resided, waiting to be seen. She realized that her deepest talent, her intuition for adventure, was now refined. It was no longer just about finding external excitement. It was about recognizing the adventure in the everyday, the miracle of a sunrise, the courage of a friend, the resilience of her own spirit. When her heart was open, the world revealed its inherent wonder. She saw that every moment held the potential for discovery, for connection, for awe. This was the alchemy of an open heart. This openness transformed her perception. The need to constantly seek something more began to fade. She found that more was already here, present in the richness of each passing moment. She learned that true contentment comes not from having, but from being. Being present, being authentic, being open to the full spectrum of human experience. The magic was not in changing her circumstances, but in changing her relationship to them. In seeing with new eyes, with a heart unburdened by relentless craving. Her life became a testament to this simple, profound truth, that by opening ourselves to what is, we unlock a deeper joy. A joy that is not dependent on external conditions, but springs from an inner wellspring. She was no longer just a collector of experiences, she was a participant in the grand unfolding miracle of life. And in this participation, with an open heart and willing spirit, she found a happiness more profound than any she had ever imagined was possible. Ultimately, the heroine came to understand the deepest truth of her journey. Her quest through all the landscapes and all the lessons was for love. Not just romantic love, though that was a part of it, but love in its grandest sense. Love for life, love for others, love for herself. This was the true north of her soul's compass. This was the adventure that held endless depth, endless discovery. For love itself is the greatest miracle, the most profound experience life offers. She saw that her zest for new experiences, her intuition, her dance with the storm, her moments with the rhythmic, all were leading her here. They were teaching her how to love more fully, more openly, more courageously. She learned that true adventure is not about conquering mountains or crossing oceans. It is about navigating the terrain of the human heart. It is about daring to connect, to be vulnerable, to give and receive love without reservation. This is the journey that never ends. The heroine realized that anyone can embark on this adventure. It does not require special talents or grand resources. It only requires an open heart and a willingness to embrace life, to embrace its joys and its sorrows, its certainties and its mysteries. When we approach life with this spirit of openness, every day becomes an opportunity for miracles. Every encounter becomes a chance to experience the profound magic of connection. This is the path available to all souls. And so our heroine continued her journey, her heart wide open. She found endless adventure, not in constant seeking, but in constant loving. She understood that the real treasures are the feelings shared, the lessons learned, the bonds forged. Her life became a song of love, an invitation to all who heard it, an invitation to embrace their own wild hearts, to follow their own whispers of knowing, and to discover for themselves that the greatest adventure of all is the boundless, miraculous journey of an open, loving heart.